Oh man, what did I just watch? Hey there, everybody. Gen X man, back with another video. We got the season finale of Daredevil Born Again, and it was something. It was I would categorize it as something. But here we are, episode 9, Straight to Hell, season finale. And I tell you, before I get into the nitty gritty of it, but my thought was that it was like there were two shows here. Like one wanted to be an episodic setup for other projects, and the other one consisting of like episodes 1, 8, and 9, the new creative team wanted to go cartoonishly hard and prove we're back or something. And neither of them were really where at least I wanted the show to be, as being a huge fan of season 1 and some other elements. I was just like, okay. But anyway, so here we are, season finale. Our story beats that were set up and sometimes addressed, sometimes abandoned throughout the series. Vanessa hiring Bullseye to kill Foggy. Finally, we get more details about it, and it still doesn't make much sense. Like, why would she turn to a man that tried to kill her husband? Why not just get some thug to do it? I mean, it wasn't like Foggy was hard to get to get at. Anybody with a rifle could have got him. Anybody. Why did she need Bullseye? It didn't make any sense. Also, why did Bullseye continue killing after he had killed the secret dude Foggy was hiding and Foggy himself? There was no point. Job done, accomplished, get out. Whatever. And how did Vanessa even know what was in Foggy's motion that was going to set things off? Did somebody tip her off? We're never told. And he never filed it. So it had to have been somebody inside Foggy's office. And Matt didn't see it. Karen may or may not have seen it, but I'm pretty sure she didn't tip off Vanessa. But you know what? It's just like, and further, she went through all the trouble of getting Bullseye to do this, but then she's not going to take steps to make sure that the actual physical documents that Foggy had that she evidently knew about, she's not going to make sure that they're destroyed in any way. And you can say like, oh well, it was secreted away in this one storage locker, and I'm like, you're telling me she didn't comb the city and try to find out through any way possible? It just doesn't work. It was a very, very convoluted setup for something that was like, well, did there need to be a bigger thing about it? But whatever. It's fine. We'll just keep going. Again, we come back also to Matt taking a bullet for Fisk. It makes no sense. And neither writing team can or did answer it. The characters are literal mouthpieces for this, saying like, why would you do that? I don't know. Like we're hearing the writers talk right there. It was a shock value moment that was, I believe, was intended to just be like, oh, what a twist, and it fell flat for me. At least I whatever. And the BB report, so important early on in the series, has been reduced to a tourist video from New York City. It's just me too being snarky. Had some issues with this final episode. The CGI blood was way over the top. Like again, they're trying desperately to appear hard and gritty, but it just came off looking cartoonish. Like there's a scene Frank Castle cuts some guy's throat, and there's so much blood. It harkens back to that scene from Nightmare on Elm Street where uh, Johnny Depp's character gets sucked down into the bed, and you're like, thank goodness Freddy killed him. Because Johnny Depp's character had so much blood in him, he was going to die anyway. Thank goodness Frank Castle cut this guy's throat, because this guy had so much blood in his throat, he was a dead man walking. So, and several other things, axes to the head, and so on and so forth, where you're just like, as somebody who's seen blood go flying, both his own and others, it was very distracting. It just kind of made me laugh because it was like, okay. Anyway, one funny element that I did was, Matt's yuppie apartment that had all the charm of unbuttered toast got blown up. I was like, oh no, not that apartment. Oh darn. Whatever. Uh, the scene of the Punisher confronting his fan club and the Kingpin killing Gallo, where they flashing back and forth between the two. I think it was intended to have more emotional impact than it did, but it ended up, for me, at least being a compare and contrast. because you got the Punisher calling these douchebags out for, I mean, he's the OG, and he's just like, y'all are clowns, and you're like, okay, that works. And you got Kingpin hilariously killing Gallo, where you're just kind of like, because I mean, we care about Punisher, we don't care about Gallo. So even though the Kingpin's killing of him was over the top shocking, and again, desperately trying to go for that shock value, we don't care about the character being killed. So it's kind of like, well, eh. So it was cutting back and forth like that disrupted the emotional impact of the Punisher's confrontation scene because we kept having to go over to this thing we didn't care about. So it's like, whatever. And also, Kingpin killing Gallo, ripping off a scene from Game of Thrones. Really, might as well call him Kingpin the Mountain, but whatever. And honestly, the season finale of this series felt like the episode one from a completely different series, not a season finale. It's very clear there are two very different creative teams with two very different creative visions for this Frankenstein mess of a show. I do not believe they should have either committed to the first version they had or scrapped it all and gone with the new vision. Like sticking with one or the other would have worked way better than what we got. Just my 2 cents. And finally, the comparing the situation in the city to the political climate here in our great nation right now is just, oh my God, it beat me over the head mercilessly. At some point I remember just begging the TV. I was like, okay, I get it. Please, please stop beating me. It was like Vox Machina. Stop hitting me. It was just over the top. Oh God. But so we got our season finale. And we our character arcs. Where did they go? Did anything happen with them? Matt Murdock, Daredevil, was very, very, very little daredeviling. The entire it seemed like the entire point of the series was to get him back in the suit, and it took so many episodes that once it finally happened, it was very much a, as Matt said, fuck it moment, because you're just kind of like, God, finally, okay, okay, we're over halfway through. We're on the downhill. He's finally put the suit back on, and then we still got very little daredeviling. So, and outside of that, there really wasn't much for Matt other than him resuming the character he already was. And as I've said in previous videos, the conflict itself felt very manufactured. It did not feel earnest. I don't think Matt would have reacted the way he did, but here we are. So there was very little in the way of heroic journey for poor Daredevil. Frank Castle, of course, had no heroic journey. He was just Frank Castling punishing. Um, However, I will say the back and forth with Matt was absolutely great. Loved their dialogue. The actors played very well with each other. The scenes were just gold in this episode. They were gold. And then to find out that Frank and Matt are both rifles for Karen, and it was great. It was great, especially when she's like, "Get in," and Matt calls shotgun, and you're just like, oh God, that stuff right there should have been the whole series right there. That would have, yes, absolutely. But outside that, Frank was just there to give Daredevil some firepower. He had no arc, he had no story to tell. He was just, I feel like this was just setting up his own series, which I think they're working on it. And furthermore, though, I take issue with the writers. Every writer that has written Punisher so far is abusing the chance that we have right now. We have John Bernthal as the Punisher. He is the Punisher. He's the best actor I have seen. He's just fantastic. No respect to the dead, but he's just, oh God, he's so enjoyable in this role. And yet they can't. They do not show him ever using any sort of tactics, any sort of use of recon, intel, nothing showing why he was such an amazing, superior soldier and commander. He's just kind of like he shows up and he kills some people, and either he gets taken down or he doesn't. And you're just like, the devil's in the details. Frank Castle needs some details. So we need to get somebody writing it who is an actual soldier, who studied combat and war. That would, yeah. Karen Page coming back was like, thank you. We finally got the series back on track. And that was absolutely a missing piece from Matt's life, not being filled by the current supporting characters. I don't understand why she left. I don't understand why she stayed away. The show doesn't explain it to any sort of satisfactory level, but she's back now, so we're like, okay, we can continue. It was like Matt finally putting on the suit again. It's like, okay, we can continue. We actually have a show again. All right. And her reasoning that she's like, oh, I heard Bullseye was out, and she came back, and I was like, oh, that was the line, not any of the other stuff. I was like, that was like, whatever. Then we had a whole host of, I mean, as far as antagonists went, I mean, they were just there to fulfill a function. White Tiger, just there to get killed and be a plot element. Foggy, just there to get killed. Gallo, just there to get killed and be a spectacle, not to mention copy pasta scene from Game of Thrones. Angie Kim and Yusuf Khan, just there to see to some other project down the road. Who knows? You know, I've whatever. Swordsman was just there so audience sees, there are other vigilantes and, again, a character from another show, possibly some other project down the road. Flat character. It was embarrassing to watch him on the CCTV footage. It was not well done. I just laughed. Adam just there to get killed and be a plot element for Fisk. But now the true heroic arc, the true character arc for this show was Wilson Fisk Kingpin. Just not only did he have a heroic arc, did he have a story arc, and it had a twist in that he started apparently legit, apparently wanting to be legit and going legit, and he ended as both inhumanly corrupt and brutal as ever, and he was legit at the same time. This was an excellent story arc with him. I wish they would have treated every character with the treatment that he got because his was excellent and his was enjoyable to watch and it sucked me in. It made me care about him as a character, not sympathetically, but just that I was interested. Vanessa Fisk she had a good bit of that. She was shown, we got to see her powerful in her own right, taking over things while Fisk was away. But also, Fisk comes back into her life and shows, hey, there's a bigger picture. We could be doing more. And she gets on board with it, literally killing her past to be with Fisk and his vision. It was excellent homage to season one about her developing character and how she's growing and what she's becoming. That was excellent. Daniel Blake, another standout heroic arc as we see him start as this, this bumbling, I want to be, eager devotee, and then he actually grows into those shoes. He actually nails it and he's fantastic. And there's this the scene of him with the city council ending on him in the shadows with that just evil look. Man, he was doing his dad. He was proud in the acting department. Like, no, oh, God, he was good. He was another enjoyable character that was just like, yeah. Bullseye, however, was another character that had no arc, but was just there to facilitate everybody else's arcs, being plot device. For Matt, he was the line to cross. For Vanessa, he was the dirty secret that ultimately went nowhere. For Fisk, he could have been a test for Fisk's love for Vanessa, but ultimately was dismissed as a nothing burger. So again, he was just kind of there to do things and to be things to other people, and it really wasn't him per se. Muse was a hilariously brief character that was built up to be something serious, but it was just kind of like, oh, there he is, and he's horrible, he does horrible things, and he's dead. You're like, okay. BB Urich, the plot device that they tried to squeeze in some sort of twist on, but when they finally sprung it, it was so late in the season and not built up to the point it felt forced, it felt fake, it felt not earned. I didn't care because she destroyed her character in my eyes by that point anyway. So I was like, I don't care if you have a twist because you're a d bag. Buck Cashman, Officer Powell, Cole North, Cole North is absolutely a porn star name. I'm just going to put that out there. All just henchmen that are given a tiny little thin cliche backstory to facilitate them being Fisk devotees. And you're like, okay. Sheila, another figure that got way too much screen time, and I never cared about her struggle. She was always out for herself, and that just solidified with the season finale with her just like, oh yeah. So she'll burn anybody to, keep alive, and she's written off. There's nothing there. There's Angela Del Toro, Heather Glenn, Kirsten McDuffie, Cherry, the hobo guy. They're all there just to yell at Matt no matter what he was doing or not doing. And furthermore, Cherry switching over to Matt's side at Josie's to show his support there at the end. Totally, totally against everything they had built him up throughout the throughout the season. Totally just fake and doesn't work and it's wrong and I didn't like it and it was just like yeah, yeah no, it doesn't work. You don't get to show him for 8 episodes taking a dump on Matt and yelling at him and not being on Matt's side, and then suddenly he's on Matt's side. No, that does not work. He has to do the work for that to pay off. So in conclusion, I won't say that I wish I had the time back that I watched it. It's not an awful show, but again, it feels like a Frankenstein's monster of a show. Like there was two different shows here, and they tried to cobble them together, and it didn't. For me, it didn't work, and it was never more obvious than the season finale as they try to work in all this, and they don't do a great job of it. And now the entire point of the season finale was to say, ah, gotcha. Now you got to tune into season two to find out what happens. I was like, no, no, I don't. Like, I'm totally unsatisfied with this first season. I like, if I come back for season two, it is only to review it for the benefit of y'all on YouTube that watch my videos. Thank you again for that. Because as the character in Lawrence of Arabia says, I am a river to my people. I will take that bullet. I will watch that TV show and report back whether or not it's worth your time. Because that's just me. I'm a nice guy. I want to be nice for y'all. So. But anyway, hey, if you all want to do something nice, smash that like and subscribe button. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. Everybody else does that. I'm not gonna do that. But seriously, if you did enjoy it, hey, give me a like. YouTube loves it when you smash the like button. If you want to see more of my videos, I come out with videos multiple times throughout the week under a variety of subjects. So you can hit the subscribe button. It'll let you know when I got something new out, which happens fairly often. But that's really all I have about Daredevil Born Again. And Dave was something that I watched. That's what I like to say about shows that I didn't completely hate, but definitely didn't enjoy either. It's like it was something I watched. So anyway, it's a beautiful day. Get out, get some sunshine, roll some dice, enjoy some comics, play some games, do something fun. And I will catch you all in the next one. Bye now.